player props, everything, just add it to the comment section. Appreciate everyone joining us. Welcome to the Fumble Sports Thursday Night Football preview for NFL Week 13. The Buffalo Bills going up against the New England Patriots. If you've got fantasy questions, gambling questions, we already got a Watson or Carr question in there. Greg, we'll get to that in a minute, but appreciate everyone joining us. This is a place to ask your fantasy questions, ask your gambling questions for NFL Week 13. Appreciate it. And of course, Fumble Sports, we're here for you. Follow us on Twitter at SportsFumble and on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Fumble Sports. Now to the question that's already in the chat. Watson or Carr? I actually like Watson a little bit more this week, so I'd actually give him a start. You'll hear me talk about him a lot. Normally, I wouldn't give him the start, but I'm not crazy about Derek Carr, so I'd actually avoid him. Bills defense or Steelers defense? I'd go Bills defense. I think they're going to have a decent night tonight. Pickens or Peoples? Jones? I'm going to go Pickens, actually. I thought he had good connection with Kenny Pickett last game. Bills on the money line, that's where we're going to go. That's where we're going to start. We're going to get into all of your questions in the comment section in 1 second. But before we do, I do want to bring up tonight's game, just a few gambling notes for you so everyone's ready for it. 8-3 Buffalo Bills going up against the 6-5 New England Patriots. Of course, this is on Amazon Prime, so I hope you have your subscriptions ready. The Bills right now are a 4-point favorite in this game, and I see the over-under has moved up to 44 points. Just a few gambling trends for you before we go into some analysis. The Bills are 3-0-1 against the spread in their last 4 meetings in New England. The underdog is 5-2 against the spread in the last 8 meetings. But the Patriots, I have my doubts about them tonight. I like the Bills on the money line. We'll get to my cover play in a moment. But I already see we got a number of questions in the chat section about gambling and fantasy this weekend. Worth starting Chase 100%. If Jamar Chase is healthy enough to play, he has to be in your starting lineup this week. The chemistry that he has with Joe Burrow, it's a must that you start him. Don't even think about it. If he disappoints, no big deal. You'd rather lose with Jamar Chase in your starting lineup disappointing you than having him on the bench, having a monster day, and you lose because you started a backup. Folk or McPherson tonight? Interesting question. Folk tonight or McPherson this weekend. I like McPherson this weekend just because I think the Bengals are going to put up a lot of points, so I like him more in that kicking spot in your fantasy league. Should you be worried about Jamar Chase? I mean, only if you're worried about his health this week. But if he's coming back, if they're saying he's ready to play, I would eliminate your concern and just put him in your lineup. Should I trade Williams and Cook for Devontae Smith? The answer is yes. Do it immediately. Do it as soon as you possibly can. Devontae Smith's going to have a big week, I think, this week, as well as a big December overall. So I would absolutely make that trade. Get Devontae Smith in that deal. The over is the total is 44. I saw someone, you like the over. I like the over when I got it earlier in the week. Earlier in the week, I got it actually at 40.5 because I bought it down on points. That said, I think the Patriots are going to actually put up some points tonight against the Bills' defense. Even though the Bills' defense is going to get sacks, they're going to have some interceptions. But I think Mac Jones is starting to make progress over the last few weeks, so I could see the Patriots having a decent day. Pick 2, Singletary, Murray, White, Kyrene. Not crazy about any of them. Certainly not starting Singletary. He's going up against a great defense tonight. Really don't like Murray. He's going up against a good Ravens defense. I guess I would go White, and I'm not crazy about Kyrene, but I'd probably go White and Kyrene. Guess who's Dak? Dak again. Well, I hope Dak's back for you and has another big week. He's had a couple big weeks for fantasy owners and certainly for Cowboy fans. Really impressed with what I've seen from Dak Prescott since injury. He had one bad start, but really he's come on strong. What about Deebo Samuel? I have to put him in the starting lineup. The 49ers are going to have to score points to keep pace with the Miami Dolphins. I know they have a great defense, but I expect the Dolphins to put up some points in that game. So Deebo Samuel, he'll have an active role. Terry McLaurin or Christian Watson? What's the status of Aaron Rodgers, I would say? Terry McLaurin has great chemistry with Taylor Heineke. Watson has come on the last few weeks. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers going up against the Bears defense. Yikes. I probably lean a little bit towards Watson just because Aaron Rodgers torches the Bears defense and the Bears passing game is atrocious. That said, I would be okay with you if I started both of them. If you had one in a wide receiver 2 and one in a flex spot, I think that would work for you. What are my thoughts on Jacoby Myers tonight? I don't think he's going to have a big game. I think he'll have, 4 or 5 receptions, probably around 50 to 60 yards. I don't think he'll get a touchdown because Jacoby Myers rarely gets touchdowns in his career. It's always a big event when he does. But my suspicions are he'll be a comfort receiver for Mac. I think he's going to target him when he needs a easy completion between 6 to 12 yards. But I don't see him having a big day. Jacoby Myers is a really good receiver, but unfortunately, the way this Patriots offense is, he kind of just gets slotted as the first down guy. If they need a first down, they try and run him, but he's not a big play guy. He's not a red zone guy. So I think he may get, like I said, 50 to 60 yards, but I don't think he has a massive day. Swift or Zonovan if Carter is out? Okay, so I would say Swift. I think that is the smarter, easier play. But as you'll see, we're going to put out a waiver wire watch video. But Fumble Sports, we put out fantasy, gambling, a lot of sports content throughout the week. We're going to put out a waiver wire watch for Zonovan Knight, given the possibility of him playing. He is rostered in less than 1% of leagues on ESPN. So if you need a running back off the waiver wire, I would recommend him. That said, I think Swift is probably the better play. He's just more reliable, and he's going up against a really bad Jaguars defense. The Bills or Cowboys defense. Interesting, because I mentioned a moment ago, I actually think you could have a decent night for Mac Jones. I don't know how many points the Patriots put up, but I could see Mac Jones continuing to improve on his completion percentage. He's been doing really well. That game he had last week against the Vikings, he actually put up pretty big numbers. I like the Dallas defense. The Dallas defense going up against the Colts. We saw what the Colts are, and you know what Matt Ryan is. So you can lock in an interception. You can lock in 2 or 3 picks automatically. And so given that's your floor, absolutely start the Cowboys defense. Appreciate everyone joining us on this TikTok Live and on YouTube as we stream from our Metaverse studio. But Fumble Sports, we're here for you. We believe the fan should never be number 2. So if you've got questions, if you need advice on fantasy football, on gambling, anything, we're here for you. But one step farther than that, But Fumble Sports is here because we believe every fan can be on-air talent. So if you want to talk sports, if that's something you're passionate about and you don't have a place to do it, reach out to us at Sports Fumble on Twitter, at But Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We believe you could be talking sports and we can help you do it. So reach out to us and give it a shot. Should I be worried about Justin Fields? ESPN said he's active. If ESPN's saying he's active, I actually feel better about it. Given I don't think the Bears would take a chance with, I say this knowing it's the Bears. I don't think the Bears should take a chance with his health, even if there's a 1% chance he's not ready. So for that reason, I feel good about Justin Fields getting back on the field. He's going up against a bad Packers team. At this point, the Packers are just in shambles. So I actually like Justin Fields. It depends who your other quarterbacks are, but I do like Justin Fields. Wilson Jr., Rashad White, or Kadarius Toney. Not crazy about it. Oh, that's a trade. There you go. Jeff Wilson Jr. for Rashad White and Kadarius Toney. I like that deal. Jeff Wilson Jr., he's going to fit really well in this Miami offense. He might not have a big game this week, given the 49ers are so good against the run. But Rashad White, he's been good, but I'm not crazy about him, given how bad the Bucs, bad the Bucs offensive line is. And Kadarius Toney, he's just a wild card for me. Like week in, week out, I don't know what I'm getting. A.J. Dillon or Jerick McKinnon. I lean slightly towards McKinnon, actually. I think he could get some extra touches this week. Pickens or Devontae Smith. That's an easy one for me. We're going Devontae Smith. I think he's going to have a good day. I saw one and I missed it. Watson or Lawrence, please. So Watson, unless I don't like the quarterback you're comparing up against the two, I'm kind of fading Watson. I need to see a week of action with him on the field with this Browns offense before I really have confidence in him. That said, Trevor Lawrence had maybe his best game of the season last week. He's starting to make some progress. I like what I'm seeing with his connection with Zay Jones, specifically Christian Kirk as well. The status of Travis Etienne is an important one for this. If Etienne isn't playing, I actually might take Watson. But if Etienne plays, Trevor Lawrence going up against an atrocious Detroit Lions defense, I think Trevor Lawrence is a good play. Mike White or Kirk Cousins. Funny enough, I'm going Mike White. Kirk Cousins is going up against the tougher defense. I think Mike White could actually play decently well against the Vikings defense that we saw last week struggled against Mac Jones. So Mike White, Garrett Wilson, and a couple other, Tyler Conklin. I actually think Elijah Moore I'd like to see continue to be a part of the offense now that Mike White's in. So I like Mike White more than Kirk Cousins this week. Kyrene, Jamal, or Rashad, that is a no-brainer, dude. At this point, you need to be starting Jamal Williams every week. Jamal Williams at this point is a lock-in RB2. There's no reason to play anybody else in that spot. A.J. Brown or Chris Godwin, give me A.J. Brown. I know he's got that crazy eye injury last week from power vomiting, but hopefully he's back and he's better. Garrett Wilson or Olave, well, like I mentioned a moment ago, I think Mike White is going to have a decent day against the Vikings, so I like Garrett Wilson. You're seeing his chemistry. Garrett Wilson, he's going to be a number one receiver for this Jets team for a lot of years to come. You just see the talent, not just as a receiver, but open field in the when he runs with the ball between the 20s, he is incredibly explosive. I'm such a big fan of Garrett Wilson, and now that he has a dependable quarterback throwing to him, I really like Garrett Wilson. With Olave, I'm a big fan. But who's throwing to him? Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston? I'd rather have Mike White. Seattle defense or Bills defense? I actually think this is the Seattle defense. They're going up against a Rams offense that is just brutally atrocious. And even though this obviously is impacting the other side of the ball, Aaron Donald isn't going to play in this game, which just tells me the Seahawks are going to be that much better on offense, which tells me that'll help their defense as well. I really like the Seahawks defense this week. They're actually another one of the waiver wire watch teams, plays, picks that I'm putting out this week. Check out the content that we put out every day to help you in fantasy, gambling, and just know more about sports. So at Sports Fumble on Twitter, at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Eagles defense or Seahawks defense? Well, as I just mentioned a moment ago, I love the Seahawks defense this week. I actually think they could be one of the best defensive plays of the week. I know they had a bad game last week against the Raiders, a -3 performance. I think they bounced back. I like the Seahawks this week. How do I feel about Swift? Well, I've liked him the entire season. He's just gotten hurt and kind of lost his job because of that to Jamal Williams. I think between the 20s, you'll continue to see the kind of splitting of touches for Swift and Williams. The problem is in the red zone, it really has been all Jamal Williams. But I do like Swift. I also think they need to get him involved in the passing game. When Jared Goff finds him in the passing game, it opens up so much more for the receivers down the field. So I do like Swift, just not as much as I did probably in the first month of the season. Stevenson or Joe Mixon? So Stevenson is going up against the Bills defense that isn't as good against the run as people think. It's put up decent numbers, but in the last month and a half, they haven't been as good against the run as kind of we project in our minds. As for Joe Mixon, he's going up against the Chiefs defense that's just been bad. I just worry about his health. If Mixon's healthy, I love Mixon against the Chiefs because in part, though Joe Burrow is going to have a big day passing, the Chiefs defense is just bad against the run, so I like Mixon more. Keenan Allen or Ken Walker? I'm going to go Keenan Allen. When Keenan Allen is now, that said, no Aaron Donald, so I got to walk this back. Kenneth Walker III going up against a bad Rams team. Maybe I do like that more with no Aaron Donald. If there was Aaron Donald, this would be an easy one for me, Keenan Allen. I actually think both players could have a big day. The reason I was originally going to say Keenan Allen is you'll hear me talk a lot about rookie running backs. When we hit December, rookie running backs usually fade. They're not used to playing this long a season. The wear and tear of an NFL season usually gets to them. That said, the Rams, bad defense, bad team right now, no Aaron Donald. I think Kenneth Walker could have a good day, but I lean towards Keenan Allen right now. Rachaad White or Fournette? I'm going with Rachaad White. Not only has he kind of taken the starting role from Fournette, but Fournette's been injured. I think Rachaad White has shown something to the Bucs. I like Rachaad White. Waddle or Kenneth Walker? This is one in which I'd probably go... Wow, that's a tough one because I think Waddle could actually have a decent day, but I got to go with what I'm seeing on at least on paper right now. I know that's not always the best thing to hear, but Kenneth Walker, no Aaron Donald. I'll go Kenneth Walker. Waddle and the Dolphins are going up against a tough defense, so if I had to pick one who's going to get the better production, lean towards Kenneth Walker, getting slightly more fantasy points for you. Kyrene Williams or McLaurin? I'll go McLaurin. I like him with Taylor Heineke, and I'm not real crazy about Williams, so I'll go McLaurin. Yeah, Garrett Wilson over Olave for sure. I think that's right. As I mentioned a moment ago, I think that's about which quarterback do you trust more, Mike White or Andy Dalton or whoever the Saints are throwing out there. Dalvin Cook or Christian Watson? That's an easy one for me. It's Christian Watson. Dalvin Cook going up against a really good Jets defense. I like Christian Watson. Montgomery or Christian Watson, full PPR. Well, it's the full PPR that actually changes my opinion on this one. I like David Montgomery, especially if Justin Fields is going to be back for this game. I think that really helps Montgomery face fewer defenders in the box who are solely focused on him. I also like him to get a couple catches here and there out of the backfield, so I like Montgomery over Watson. Lockett or DK Metcalf? That's a good question. Both going up against a bad Rams defense. I assume DK Metcalf is going to be going up against Jalen Ramsey one-on-one. But even with that said, I'd actually probably go DK Metcalf. I think both could have good games. It's really about who gets in the end zone. If DK Metcalf gets the touchdowns, I prefer him. It's kind of tough because Geno Smith doesn't have a favorite red zone target. Swift or Kamara? I am fading Alvin Kamara. I don't like anything about him. I saw earlier today that he has like the best schedule against bad defenses versus running backs. I don't care. He's just been bad this year. Alvin Kamara has been one of the most disappointing players in fantasy football this season. I'm not going to trust him now. I'll go with Swift. Mike Evans or Garrett Wilson? I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson. Tom Brady and Mike Evans haven't had great performances against the New Orleans Saints over the last 2 years. I like Garrett Wilson. I think he's found chemistry with Mike White. I'd go with him. Should I start Jacoby Myers? I wouldn't. I'd hope you'd have other players that you could put in his place. I'm not crazy about Jacoby Myers going up against the Bills, in part because I just don't see him getting a touchdown. If this was about yards, maybe I'd like him. As I said earlier, 50, 60 yards in total for Myers is what I see. But he's just not targeted in the red zone enough in this Patriots offense, and that's one of the reasons I'm not crazy about starting him in fantasy. Should I trust Folk with the weather tonight? I'm not seeing any weather really in Foxborough. So for all you sports betting fans out there, there is an absolutely outstanding website to get your weather reports for NFL football games. NFLweather.com. NFLweather.com. Really good website, goes through all the games, gives you the weather, not just for the game, but for each individual quarter, which is unbelievable. So for tonight's game, it's going to be clear, temperatures between 35 and 33, and what it says right now is a 9-mile-per-hour wind. Nick Folk has been incredibly consistent. He's been a really good kicker for the Patriots over the last couple of years. I would feel good about starting him tonight. You should trust him. Every once in a while, I hit these comments and it jumps to the bottom, and I miss some of these, and I don't want to miss any of them because you guys are asking some good questions, and I want to be able to give you some good info. So, okay, back up at the top here. Cousins, Lawrence, or Watson. As I mentioned, I don't like going with Watson. I want to see one game with him on the field with the Browns offense before I'm going to feel confident in him. Cousins, he's going up against a good Jets defense. I'm not crazy about that. I'd go Trevor Lawrence against the Detroit Lions. What should you do with Cooper Kupp? You're done. He's done for the year. He's not coming back. There's no reason the Los Angeles Rams, you might as well cut him. Unless you're in a dynasty league and you want to keep him for next season, Cooper Kupp is just taking up a spot on your roster that could be taken up by someone who's actually going to see the field. Is that Jacoby Myers or Folk? Let me know if that's the question you have. If it is, that's a weird question of who you should play. Lockett or Keenan Allen? That's a really good question. The Chargers are going up against a bad Raiders defense. I'd probably go Keenan Allen. I prefer that one. I know the Rams are so bad on defense. Man, you really can't miss with either one, but I'd probably go Keenan Allen. Pacheco or Gabe Davis? I like Gabe Davis tonight. I expect Josh Allen to have a big passing day. In his last 2 starts in Foxborough against the Patriots, Josh Allen has 7 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. I expect him to torch the Bill Belichick defense once again. In fact, I actually saw a great tweet earlier today. Shout out to John Ewing. Check him out at John Ewing, EWING. Puts out a lot of great gambling notes. One of the ones he had, Josh Allen in prime time is 11-3 straight up, 10-4 against the spread. And when Josh Allen plays Bill Belichick, Josh Allen is 5-2-1 against the spread versus Belichick. The only quarterback who has a better record is Eli Manning, who is 5-0 against the spread against Bill Belichick. So anytime we bring up Eli Manning's name, you know Bill Belichick's getting torched tonight. Stevenson, A.J. Brown, or Lamb. Well, I certainly wouldn't go Stevenson. He's not the one I'd be playing. I'd lean towards A.J. Brown or C.D. Lamb. To me, I'd much prefer A.J. Brown in this one. I actually think he's going to have the bigger day, but I don't think you could go wrong with starting Lamb either if you had to. Thoughts on Singletary tonight? Well, I think Josh Allen's going to have a big game. The Patriots defense is one of the best in the NFL versus the run. So unless Singletary's getting you a touchdown in fantasy, I don't see Singletary having a big game. Okay, start 2 at wide receiver and 1 at flex. Okay, Jamar Chase, just put in as a start. Just lock it in. I'm not even thinking about it. I'd also go Garrett Wilson as my other start. So those are my 2 starts at wide receiver. And then as a flex, I'm assuming that's Rachaad White. I'm gonna lean towards Mike Evans just because I think he'll get a touchdown, or at least he'll get a bit more targets than Rachaad White in that game. Thoughts on Saquon Barkley? I think Saquon Barkley has actually had a fantastic year. I actually think he should probably win Comeback Player of the Year. Shout out in the comment section if you have a player that you'd rather see win Comeback Player of the Year. But where Saquon Barkley, the injury, he's really had a strong year. That said, he is playing the Washington Commanders defense. They're going to have Chase Young back. I don't think he's going to have a big game, but if the Giants are going to go anywhere the remainder of the season, they're going to have to ride Saquon Barkley. You as a fantasy fan probably should as well. Seeing a lot of repeat questions. That's the only reason I'm rolling through. George Pickens or Treylon Burks? I'm going George Pickens. I really like what I saw Monday night against the Colts. I'm seeing the connection between Kenny Pickett and George Pickens start to kind of formalize and kind of cement itself. I really like what I'm seeing from them. And they are playing an Atlanta Falcons defense that when we say is bad against the pass, that doesn't even nearly cover it. So I like George Pickens in that one. Appreciate everyone joining us right now on TikTok Live, Butt Fumble Sports, going through NFL Week 13. We're talking a little bit about tonight's game, but we're also answering fantasy football and gambling questions for NFL Week 13 Sunday and Monday. So if you got them, put it in the comments section. I'm going to try and get to all of them. Forgive me if I miss over them. Just put them back in the section. I'll find it. Who do I have for tonight's game? I have the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills on the money line. I'm also getting the Buffalo Bills to cover, but I'm going to bring that down to -2.5. Right now, the Bills are -4. I don't really like that. I could see this being a field goal or 4-point game, but that said, I like the under 3 points. So if I can buy the points down and get Bills -2.5, I feel really good about that. Josh Allen has played so well against the Bill Belichick defense. I think Mac Jones could play well. I don't think he's going to play well enough to outplay Josh Allen. So for that reason, I do like the Bills on the money line and to cover -2.5 after I buy 1.5. Courtland Sutton or Amari Cooper. I'm going Amari Cooper. I like Courtland Sutton. He's been the only dependable player on the Denver Broncos offense. But given that it is the Denver Broncos offense, I just can't trust it. I'll go with Amari Cooper this week. Palmer, a good start, not as much as he has been in weeks past. Mike Williams, I expect to be back this week. I do like Josh Palmer a lot, but he's going to have limited targets, so he has to make a lot more of his receptions. Does that mean he's going to have as good a fantasy day as he had in the past few weeks? I don't think so. So it depends who you have on your bench. If you have someone else on your bench, you may want to consider him. But Palmer, not as good as he has been in weeks past, just because a lot of mouths to feed in that Chargers offense. Deshaun Watson, comeback player of the year. Only if you're a massage therapist. Okay. Courtland Sutton and Amari Cooper. Gabe Davis or Josh Palmer. See, this is a perfect example. Gabe Davis is a player I'd start over Josh Palmer because Gabe Davis is going to be targeted a couple times tonight, where Josh Palmer, I just don't see him being fed as often from Justin Herbert. Jeff Wilson or Latavius Murray. I don't like Jeff Wilson this week going up against the 49ers defense, but I'd rather start him than Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray, again, it means I have to rely on the Denver Broncos offense, and they're going up against the Ravens defense that's pretty good against the run. I'll take Jeff Wilson Jr., even though I don't think he's going to have a big day against the 49ers run defense. Appreciate everyone. As we prepare you for NFL Week 13, Thursday Night Football between the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots. Reach out to us. We believe you can be on-air talent. So if you believe you know sports as well as us or better than the guys on TV, let us know. DM us. Maybe you can be talking sports for a living. We want to make it happen for you. That said, follow us on Twitter @SportsFumble and on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube @ButtFumbleSports. We're here for you. We believe the fan should never be number 2. Montgomery, Juju Smith-Schuster, Fournette, Godwin, pick 2. Well, I'm picking Montgomery because One, he's going up against a bad Packers run defense. Two, Justin Fields, I hope, is back. That'll help him. Juju Smith-Schuster would probably be the other one. It depends on his health. I haven't seen the injury report. If he's fully recovered from the concussion, if he's fully healthy to go, I'd probably go Juju because Patrick Mahomes is going to have to pass a lot in that game against the Bengals. That's going to be a great shootout. Don't trust Fournette. Don't really trust Godwin. I'm not really trusting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the New Orleans Saints. We've seen this song and dance over the last few years, and that's when the Bucs were actually good on offense and had a good offensive line. They don't anymore. I think the injury to Tristan Wirfs is probably one of the most damaging injuries that you can have to any playoff team remaining because he's so important. He might be the best player on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that's not an overstatement. So that said, without Tristan Wirfs, I really don't like their running game. I really don't like their passing game. So I'll go Montgomery and Juju as my pick 2 in that foursome. Should I start should you start Ramondre Stevenson at the flex? Who are your other options? I think you could have a decent game tonight against the Bills. The Bills aren't as good against the run as kind of people make them out to be. Over the back half of the season, they've given up some bigger running performances. That said, do I think Ramondre Stevenson's going to have like a 110-yard game with a couple touchdowns? I don't. I think he's going to be under 85 rushing yards, and I don't know if he reaches the end zone. If he does, it'll be just once. The only good thing about maybe starting him at the flex, no Damian Harris tonight. Damian Harris is not playing. That said, the positive on the Patriots side, David Andrews, their center, is back, and Trent Brown, who's actually was put on the injury report for the Patriots, he will be active tonight despite having an illness. So the Patriots' offensive line is going to be healthier this week. Maybe that's enough reason for you to have confidence in them. That said, I'd love to know who are the other options on your bench. Rodgers or Mariota, 5 PPR. I'm going to go with Rodgers. I can't believe I'm saying it, but despite Aaron Rodgers looking bad at times, he's going up against the Chicago Bears. And until the Bears prove to me that they aren't owned by Aaron Rodgers, I will trust Aaron Rodgers going up against Chicago. Man, Pierce or Pacheco? Man, Dameon Pierce over the last 2 weeks has been one of the biggest disappointments in fantasy, and this kind of validates my theory. Rookie running backs, when they get to this time of the season, a lot of wear and tear, and it's even worse that the Houston Texans don't have a quarterback they can rely on, don't have an offense they can rely on, so Pierce has gotten lost in the shuffle. Pacheco, I think he's going to have a number of touches in this game. Really hard for me. I still probably want to go Dameon Pierce. The Browns' run defense is bad. I'd probably lean that way, but really I could see both players getting around the same number of points, and neither one's going to be a lot. Josh Jacobs, if he's healthy, start him. He could have a monster day this week against the Chargers' run defense, which is atrocious. It's just about the injury to his calf. Brandon Ayuk or George Pickens? I'm going Pickens. He's going up against that Falcons defense, which is terrible against the pass. And Brandon Ayuk, unless he finds the end zone, a lot of mouths to feed in that 49ers offense. I think Pickens is the more reliable player. Should I trade T. Higgins for Travis Etienne? The answer is probably yes, because Etienne might have an injury. I have wide receiver Diggs and Jefferson, RB, Stevenson, and Taylor. Well, it sounds like you're actually loaded at wide receiver. I don't know if you need to add another wide receiver. I'd actually say keep Etienne because running back is such a valued position late in the season. I can find wide receivers on the waiver wire way more easily than I can find running backs. So because you're going down to the playoff part of the fantasy football season, I wouldn't trade T. Higgins. He could have a big day this week against the Kansas City Chiefs, and Etienne could be out. But if Etienne plays against the Lions, I think he'll have a good game, and I'd rather have a star running back than a star wide receiver down the stretch, especially if you've got Diggs and Jefferson. You're loaded at the position anyways. It would just be in a flex play. You think McCaffrey going to play? I hope so. I hope I see him against the Miami Dolphins. Really important for that over if he's going to play. Otherwise, I don't see where the 49ers are going to be in relation to the Miami Dolphins. I actually like the Dolphins covering that game right now. Christian McCaffrey, though, they really need him to play. He brings a lot to that offense. Josh Allen or Trevor Lawrence? Ooh. I gave you a lot of stats about Josh Allen and how he's performed against Bill Belichick. So I like Josh Allen tonight, but I picked Trevor Lawrence because he's going up against the Detroit Lions. So I like that a lot more. I think Juju will get targets because they're going to have to throw the ball a lot in that game against the Bengals. But I do have my questions about whether he's going to have as big a day given his health compared to, obviously, like a Travis Kelce. But I think Juju's a smart play. Will Kittle have a good game? Yes, I do think Kittle will have a good game. I really hope he gets in the end zone. A lot of mouths to feed, but I actually think he could become a red zone target for Jimmy G. I also think he's a reliable first down target for Jimmy G. The problem is they use him a lot in the run game. That's the only reason he gets fewer targets. Swift or Cook? I like Swift. I think Cook's going up against a really good run defense. Oh, you would be acquiring ETN. Absolutely do that deal. Get ETN. You don't need T. Higgins. You're loaded at the wide receiver position. Absolutely do that. Olave or Lockett? Not even a doubt. Go with Lockett. Juwan Johnson or Kmet? If Cole Kmet has Justin Fields throwing to him, if Justin Fields is healthy enough to play in this game, I'm going Cole Kmet. I would trade for Travis Etienne only if you're giving up a wide receiver that you can afford to give up, like the guy who put in the comment section a moment ago. I thought that was a deal worth making. Godwin or Monty? I'm going Montgomery. I think he's going to have a good game. Juju or Pacheco in the flex? Go with Juju. I hope he's healthy, but I'd go Juju. Appreciate all the comments. Follow us on Twitter at SportsFumble and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at ButtFumbleSports. Knox or Everett? It's Gerald Everett, not even a doubt. Brian Robinson or Josh Palmer? Brian Robinson, not even a doubt. Tua or Deshaun Watson? I'm going to go with Tua. I know he's going up against a much better defense, but this is just a theory I have. I apologize. I'm going to say this repeatedly. Until I see Deshaun Watson in one game of NFL football this year, I'm just not going to trust him. I need to see him on the field, see him with this offense, see him with his teammates just one time. Tua has been fantastic. If Tua starts the game and finishes the game, we kind of know what we're going to get from Tua, so I'd go with Tua. He's been an MVP candidate this year. No reason to not play him. Flex spot, Swift, Fournette, Pacheco, or Singletary. I'd probably go with Swift. I'm not crazy about any of them, but I'd probably go Swift. Lockett, Evans, or Keenan Allen. I'd go Keenan Allen. Lockett's also a good play if you can fit the two players in there. Any underrated tight ends on the waiver wire? So glad you asked. Tyler Conklin of the New York Jets. Now that Mike White is playing much better than Zach Wilson, I think Tyler Conklin will be another member of the Jets offense that benefits from that. Check out to see if Conklin's available in your league. He's rostered in about 30% of ESPN leagues. White or Najee Harris? Man, Najee Harris so disappointed me last week. I'm kind of pissed off about it. I thought he was going to have a better day against the Colts. He didn't. For that reason alone, I'm going White. Start Jacoby Myers. I wouldn't. I would start somebody else if you can. Knox or Njoku. I'd go Njoku. Knox really hasn't had a big season this year. And Njoku, you saw last week what he's capable of. Obviously, now that he has Deshaun Watson, I still think he'll be targeted a ton. Oh, we answered Tua or Deshaun Watson. Bench Keenan or DK for CD? Oof. Probably bench DK. I'm not crazy about it, but I like Keenan Allen. I think he's going to have a good game. Jacoby Myers or Josh Palmer? I'd probably go Jacoby Myers. I think they'll probably end up with similar stats, which is like 60 yards, no touchdowns. So I'd go Jacoby Myers just because he's a wide receiver 1 or 2 in the Patriots offense, where Palmer is a wide receiver 3. For that reason alone, I'd go Jacoby Myers, but I'm not crazy about it. Gabe Davis or Juju Smith-Schuster? I'm going Gabe Davis. I think Josh Allen's going to be chucking the ball tonight against the Patriots secondary, so I could see him having a good game. Deshaun Watson or Geno Smith? I'm going Geno. The Rams' defense is terrible. No Aaron Donald. Deshaun Watson, again, I need to see him for a week before I can trust him. I'm going Geno. Appreciate all of you joining us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, as we go through NFL Week 13 and try to answer some of your fantasy football questions. A running back off the waiver wire you may want to consider, Zonovan Knight. He's a player that not a lot of people know about. He could be a backup or a spot start running back for the Jets this week. I could see him having a good day. Another waiver wire running back you may want to consider, JaMycal Hasty of the Jacksonville Jaguars. If Travis Etienne can't play, he might be someone you want to consider. Bills defense tonight, I think they'll have a decent day. I think they'll get an interception and a couple sacks, but I don't think they'll have a monster day compared to what it could have been if Von Miller was healthy. And Von Miller, placed on the IR, will be out the next 4 weeks. I hope he can come back this season. I put out a rant a couple weeks ago when he got hurt, saying that was a devastating injury. A lot of people came at me being like, he wasn't that hurt. He just got a sprain. He'll be back next week. Look who was right about that one. Mike White or Tom Brady? Wow, I can't believe the words are coming out of my mouth, but I'll take Mike White. He's going up against a Vikings defense that you saw gave up a lot of yards to Mac Jones and Patriots offense last week. Meanwhile, Tom Brady plays the New Orleans Saints. He has not played well against the Saints while being a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. You just got Patrick Mahomes and Miles Sanders for Geno and Montgomery. Is that a win? Yeah, you just got the MVP and one of the best running backs in the league, and you gave up Geno Smith and Montgomery to do it. Love that trade. You just fleeced somebody. Singletary or Brian Robinson Jr.? Brian Robinson Jr. Garrett Wilson, Pickens, or Wilson Jr.? I'm going, that's a tough one. I like Pickens a lot because he's going up against the Falcons defense, but I'll go Garrett Wilson, trusting Mike White more than I probably should. Who should you get for Olave? I don't know. Who you want to target? Go get a running back if you need it. Go out there and tell me who you got. Dameon Pierce or Travis Etienne? If Travis Etienne is healthy, it's a no-brainer, Travis Etienne. Just checking out your comments, seeing if I've missed any of these fantasy questions. I think we're pretty good. Hasty or Gus Edwards then? Well, the problem is I don't know if JaMychal Hasty is going to be the featured back. Gus Edwards going up against a decent, more than decent Broncos defense. I lean towards Edwards for now. If Travis Etienne isn't healthy enough to play, I go with Hasty, but for now I have to go Edwards just because it's a more certain play. Swift or Murray? I'm going Swift. Sutton or Palmer? I'm going Sutton. Kenny Pickett or Mike White? It's a tough one only because Kenny Pickett is going up against the Falcons secondary that's atrocious. That said, I'm going Mike White. You can just hear I'm a believer right now, probably more than I should be, but I feel like both players are going to put up more points than people expect. I think both could have a decent day. Ayuk or Murray? I'm going Ayuk. I don't trust anything really about the Broncos right now. Thoughts on Myers? Like I said, between 50, 60 yards tonight. Don't see him having a big day. They don't feature him enough in the red zone. That's going to hurt him. Fournette or Najee Harris? Talk about two running backs who have disappointed me this year. I probably lean toward Najee Harris because I just don't trust Fournette given his injury health. Oh, wow. Okay, no Tyler Conklin on the waiver wire. I'm not sure. That was the big waiver wire tight end that I was considering this week. I'll try and actually, I'd love to check it out for you real quick just to see if there's someone I'm seeing that you could play. Don't like Mike Gesicki this week. Noah Fant, if you can get Noah Fant in your league, I could see him having a decent day. Not too many options out there, but Noah Fant might be someone you want to consider given how the Rams are going to give up yards to Geno Smith. Yeah, Najee's hurt. Yeah, okay, there you go. So I was hoping he would be healthy again. If Najee is hurt, then obviously avoid him. Thoughts on Zay Jones? I think Zay Jones is going to have a nice game. He's going up against a bad Lions defense. Trevor Lawrence and him, you saw the chemistry last week. I like it. Lamar or Fields? I'm going Fields. The Packers defense is bad. The Broncos defense is good. And Lamar Jackson, other than Mark Andrews, really doesn't have a star receiver to throw to. So I'll lean towards Justin Fields. But again, be careful. Make sure he's healthy enough to go, or otherwise you got to start Lamar Jackson. Romeo, Dobbs, or Meyer? I'm going to go Dobbs. He's back. He's healthy. And Aaron Rodgers is going up against the Chicago Bears defense that he owns. I'll probably go Dobbs, even though Watson has become the favorite target for Rodgers. Deontay Johnson or Palmer? I'll go Deontay Johnson again. This is more a function of Josh Palmer's a wide receiver 3. Deontay Johnson is a wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 on the Steelers. Kenny Pickett, you're seeing him make those strides as a young quarterback. And again, the Falcons defense just bad against the pass. So for that reason, I like Deontay Johnson. Appreciate all of you joining us on this TikTok Live. Follow us on Twitter @SportsFumble and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube @ButtFumbleSports. We're streaming live right now on YouTube from our Metaverse studio. Unbelievable setup that we have. One player prop bet that I want to shout out. We love giving off player prop bets. We got a winning one for you on Monday night when we got over 20 completions for Matt Ryan. Our player prop bet of the night from ButtFumble Sports is Josh Allen over 1.5 passing touchdowns. That's going off at -145. In Josh Allen's last 2 games in Foxborough against Bill Belichick, 7 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That's why I like that player prop tonight. Stevenson or Pollard. I'm going Pollard. Stevenson, I know he's going to be the focal point of the Patriots offense, but I just can't trust him right now. Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields? To me, it's Trevor Lawrence, only because Justin Fields has injury history. I feel like he needs to be a little bit more careful. That said, Trevor Lawrence going up against the Lions, bad defense, like it there. Sutton or Thielen, this is the one player in the entire Broncos offense I like is Courtland Sutton. He's really reliable, really dependable. So for that reason, I'd probably go Sutton. Geno or Trevor, I think you can't go wrong in this one. Both players, I think, are going to put up big numbers. They're going up against two of the worst defenses right now in the NFL. Rams without Aaron Donald, that's going to really affect them. Geno, I think he's going to have a good game. That said, Trevor Lawrence against the Lions, he's going to have a good game too. I don't think you can go wrong. Gus Edwards, Kareem Hunt, or Hasty. Well, Hasty, again, it's only if Travis Etienne is injured. Gus Edwards, not crazy about him. Kareem Hunt would actually probably be my play out of those three if Hasty isn't the number one option if Travis Etienne is healthy enough to play. Kenneth Walker or Stevenson, I'm going Walker. Stevenson, over 4.5 receiving yards. Yes, I really like that. That's a player prop bet worth playing. No Damian Harris tonight. Stevenson will probably be involved in the offense from, Mac Jones trying to get the ball out fast. We're seeing in the last couple weeks, Mac Jones trying to not hold the ball as long, not take some of those sacks he was taking earlier in the year. So I do like over 4.5. 4.5 receptions, I'm not, that's going to be tight, but you're right around that edge. 4.5, I could see that hitting the over. I would not start Singletary tonight. Oh, I just had one. Just jumped on me. This comment section jumps on you if I hit just slightly too low. Okay. Thielen, Freiermuth for flex. I love Freiermuth this week. Going up against the Falcons, Thielen going up against a tough Jets defense. Freiermuth is my play at the flex. Can't believe I'm flexing a tight end over a wide receiver, but that's absolutely the case. Okay, Tannehill or Mariota. So Tannehill going up against the Eagles defense, not crazy about it. I think it's going to be a big running day for Derrick Henry. I think the Tennessee Titans are going to run the ball a ton. I actually like Mariota more against the Steelers defense that at times looked really bad last week. So that said, I like Mariota. Keenan Allen or Christian Watson? I lean towards Keenan Allen. I think Christian Watson could have a big day, but that said, I lean towards Keenan Allen. Stevenson, Dameon Pierce, or Jeff Wilson Jr. So Dameon Pierce is the lowest on that group. Wilson probably not high either going up against the 49ers defense. Stevenson would be the play out of those three. Tua, Fields, or Geno? Well, to me, it would be Geno Smith only in that he's going up against a bad Rams defense. That said, Tua Tagovailoa is an MVP candidate, and Justin Fields coming off injury, not crazy about him, but I would go with Geno in that out of that threesome. Singletary or Pittman? The Colts are playing a Cowboys defense that is good. It'll probably be Diggs lined up against Pittman most of the game. I don't like Singletary tonight, but I probably like Singletary more than Pittman. Christian Kirk or Mike Evans? Christian Kirk. Trevor Lawrence is going to have a big passing game against the Lions. I like Christian Kirk more than I like Mike Evans. Christian Kirk or Olave? I like Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk's going to have a big day against the Lions defense. I like him more than Olave. Cordero Patterson or Darius Slayton? Cordero Patterson. Like him more. Fields or Watson, I'm assuming that's Deshaun. Just because of the injury status, I go Deshaun Watson. You've heard me a lot tonight say I'm not crazy about Deshaun Watson. I need to see him in one game. That said, I'd rather have Watson healthy than Fields less than 100%. Singletary or Myers tonight? Okay, of those two, Jacoby Myers will have the better game, I think. Singletary might get a touchdown. That's the only way I could see him getting more fantasy points. But that said, Singletary is going up against a really good run defense for the Patriots. And if I'm Bill Belichick, I say to myself, I'm going to go up against Josh Allen's passing game no matter what. I have to stop the run. If the Bills are able to run and pass, there's no way the Patriots win this game. You have to eliminate at least one of those two. I think they'll be able to stop the running game. It's the passing game they'll struggle to stop. Pacheco or Olave at my flex? I will go Olave for that one. Raiders versus Chargers, who you got? Okay, I'm going Chargers. The Chargers are healthier. It's -2 right now where I see it. I like the Chargers to win. I like the Chargers to cover. I think the Raiders had one of their best games of the week last week. I think the biggest factor in this game is going to be, is Josh Jacobs healthy? If Josh Jacobs' calf keeps him out of this game, I love the Chargers. One of the reasons I actually bought the Chargers earlier in the week on the money line and then on the cover when it was -1.5, or at least where I got it, is because I do think Josh Jacobs is going to be slightly limited, and the Chargers are getting healthy. I think the Chargers win that game. They had a big win last week. Mostert or Hunt? I like Hunt just because Mostert's splitting touches with Jeff Wilson Jr., and they're going up against the #1 rush defense in the NFL. Appreciate that gift. Thank you. If anyone wants to send me a gift, I'll certainly take it. Appreciate all your support. Follow us on Twitter @SportsFumble and TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube @ButtFumbleSports. ButtFumble Sports is here for you, giving out fantasy information, gambling information, player prop bets, everything you need. We put out content every single day, but what differentiates us from every other sports content company in the country and in the world is we believe you could be sports talent. We believe you could be on-air talent. If you love talking sports, but you had to get a job outside of sports media, you had a wife, you had kids, you had responsibilities, and you never got to ESPN or to Fox Sports, we can help you get there. I've worked at those places. I know what it takes. We can help coach you to be sports on-air talent. So if you want to be on-air talent, if you want to talk sports for a living, reach out to us @SportsFumble on Twitter, @ButtFumbleSports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, because we believe you can be on-air talent. We believe every fan can be on-air talent. Singletary or Leonard Fournette? For that, I'm going Singletary just because I have no faith in Leonard Fournette given his injury status and how Rachaad White has come on. Bam Knight or Alan Lazard? I don't know who Bam Knight is, so just let me know who Bam Knight is and I can answer that. Singletary or Fournette, we answered that. CeeDee Lamb over Olave. I like CeeDee over Olave. You traded Keenan Allen and Pollard and got back Justin Jefferson and Andrews and Dak. Oh, that's a good deal only because you got 3 for 2 and you got arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. Mark Andrews just hasn't gotten touchdowns. That's the only reason that he hasn't been as spectacular this year. But Dak Prescott's coming on at the right time. Love that trade for you. Not only 3 for 2, but you absolutely got the best player in that in Justin Jefferson. Philly Sports 3, appreciate the rose. Just consider me the beast. Mike White or Lamar Jackson? I'm going Mike White, going up against a Vikings defense that looked bad against the Patriots and Mac Jones last week. Lamar Jackson going up against the Denver Broncos defense that is good against the pass. Not as good against the run, but still really good against the pass. I like Mike White more than Lamar Jackson. Colts versus Cowboys. Love the Cowboys in this game. Not sure about the cover. Want to see where the public money finally pushes it. At the beginning of the week, it was -9. That just seemed a little too high for me. That said, Dallas on the money line is an easy play. Fold that into a couple of parlays. I'm not talking about 8, 10, 12-team parlays, but like 3, 4-team parlays where the Dallas odds will kind of shift it a bit more towards plus money for you. But I love Cowboys on the money line. If Debo doesn't play, who should you pick up? So, ButtFumble Sports puts out waiver wire watch players to consider every week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, going up into the week. A couple of wide receivers that I would recommend. Zay Jones, we've talked about him a lot tonight. If he's available in your league, he's going to have a big day against the Lions defense. Elijah Moore. We saw him come out of nowhere, finally make a return to the field. I could see him starting to build some chemistry with Mike White. George Pickens, talked a lot about him tonight. If you can pick him up in a waiver wire spot, he could make a great addition. He's going up against a terrible Falcons defense, and you're seeing the chemistry he has with his young quarterback. Randall Cobb is another one. It is Aaron Rodgers versus the Chicago Bears. Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears historically, so Randall Cobb could have a big day. Those are some waiver wire wide receivers to consider if Deebo Samuel doesn't go. Josh Allen or Hurts. I like Josh Allen. I think he's going to torch Bill Belichick once again. That said, Jalen Hurts, he's going up against the Titans defense that's really good against the run. I think it's going to force him to pass. I think it's good, but I don't think he'll have as good a day as Josh Allen. Gerald Everett or Dulcich the rest of the year? It's Gerald Everett. It's not even a question. Dulcich was kind of a one-hit wonder there for a bit, but the Broncos offense isn't worth trusting, especially at tight end, so I'm going Gerald Everett, who's a pretty good tight end. Who should you look to get with Pierce? I don't know. What positions do you need? Who's available? Who are the gullible? Whenever someone asks me about a trade, who should I get for this player? It's hard for me to answer in part, who's the most gullible, dumbest opposing owner, fantasy owner in your league? Go through that guy's roster, pick out the two players that you want. The one you don't think he'll give up, and the guy he'll probably give up after you bring up his number one priority. So, for example, I like one guy who I have in my fantasy league who's a dolt. He doesn't know what he's doing. I always go to him and I'll go, man, can I get Justin Jefferson? He'll go, no way, I'm not trading Justin Jefferson. I'll go, fine, can I get Jalen Waddle then? And he'll go, fine, what can I? And that's how you do that. So find the dumbest fantasy owner in your league, go through his lineup, find a couple players you'd like to pick off of his roster, and then prioritize them. He probably won't give up the number one, but number 2 and 3, he might be willing to make a deal. So someone to consider. Should I trade Stevenson for Kamara and Pickens? No, because Kamara is not good and Pickens isn't reliable enough. Stevenson absolutely is the number one offensive weapon for the Patriots. If the Patriots do anything in December, it'll be because Ramondre Stevenson, and with Damian Harris hurt, the offensive line getting healthier for the Patriots, it's Stevenson. I would not make that trade. Oh, Zonovan Bam Knight, gotcha, was a last-minute brought-up starter for the Jets last week. Yeah, and I think he's a really good waiver wire watch pickup. He's rostered in less than 1% of leagues on ESPN. He could have a start this week, or at least be a spot starter in a split-back position. So, yeah, I do like Zonovan Knight in that situation. Davis or Sutton? I'm assuming you're talking about Gabe Davis. I like Gabe Davis. I'm just not trusting the Broncos offense. I like Cortland Sutton. He's been the only reliable player on that entire offense. But that said, I'd rather have Gabe Davis in there. Pittman or Pickens? I'm going Pickens up against that Falcons defense. Running back, totally, yeah. Singletary or Swift? I'm going Swift. Kittle or Andrews? Good question. I'll lean towards Kittle again. Mark Andrews is due for a touchdown. I thought he was going to get one last week, and he still didn't. He had that drop in the end zone. That was a crusher. That was one of the 3. We went 7 for 10 in our player prop bets last week. That's one of the ones we lost. It was a one-handed catch away from happening. That said, I do like Kittle. I do think he gets a touchdown. Over 3.5 field goals tonight. Yeah, I could see that, especially because Nick Folk is such a reliable kicker for the Patriots. I think he's going to get at least 2 field goals in this game, if not 3, and then you're just relying on the Bills kicker to get 1 or 2. So, yeah, I do like over 3.5 field goals tonight. Folk, over 6.5 points. Well, that kind of speaks to my point. I see him definitely getting 2 field goals. The question is, will he get the third? The only reason I actually kind of like that is Bill Belichick's kind of averse to going for it on 4th down. Every once in a while, that Patriots crowd will kind of, gaslight him into doing it or trigger him into doing it. But more often than not, Bill Belichick's a kind of a traditional head coach. He'll take the points over running the risk of getting stopped on a 4th down. So Folk over 6.5 points isn't a player prop bet that I would necessarily play, but I could definitely see that hitting tonight. Should you start Watson? Is that Deshaun Watson or Christian Watson? If it's Christian Watson, I'd start him. If it's Deshaun Watson, depends who your other quarterback is. I need to see 1 week of Deshaun Watson on the field with the Browns before I do anything. That said, if you don't have another quarterback that you feel confident in, yeah, he's going up against the Houston Texans defense, so Deshaun Watson would be a decent play. Dameon Pierce or Devin Singletary? I'll go with Pierce. I know he's had 2 bad weeks in a row, and I've said a lot about rookie running backs struggling in December, but Dameon Pierce going up against a bad Browns run defense. On the other side of the ball, Devin Singletary is going up against one of the best run defenses in the NFL and the Patriots, so I like that. Sutton or Zeke? I'm going Zeke. I know he's splitting touches with Tony Pollard, but I can't trust the Broncos offense. It's just been atrocious. I trust Zeke way more. Man, he's looked a lot better the last few weeks too. Just healthier, better cuts, so I like it. Jamal Williams or AK-41, a.k.a. Alvin Kamara. Look, Alvin Kamara has been one of the most disappointing players in fantasy this season. I don't like anything that he's done. It's more actually probably a statement of the suspension he had at the beginning of the year, as well as the Saints passing game and how they performed means he's getting boxes with 7-8 guys. So that said, Jamal Williams has been one of the best running backs in the league this year. I'm going Jamal Williams, not even a question for me. Zay Jones or Pickens? I'm going Zay Jones. Montgomery or Jamal Williams? I'm going Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams or Alvin Kamara? I'm going Jamal Williams. Again, Jamal Williams has been one of the best running backs in the NFL. You don't need to ask anymore Jamal Williams or another running back. Just start Jamal Williams. It's a no-brainer. The Lions have a great run offense. They have a great offensive line. Consistently, Williams is a red zone featured back. It's not even a question. So if you're going to ask Jamal Williams or someone else, just start Jamal Williams. Latavius Murray or Pacheco. I'm going Pacheco only because I'm not trusting anything the Broncos are going to be doing on offense, and they're going up against a good run defense. Deshaun Watson or Tua. So I probably would lean towards Deshaun Watson again with my, now you've heard it a couple times, with my warning. I'm not crazy about Watson because I haven't seen him with this offense. Tua's been an MVP when I've seen him on the field. That said, which team is facing the better, or which quarterback's facing the tougher defense? That's Tua. For that reason, I go Deshaun Watson. Christian Watson or DK Metcalf? DK Metcalf. Gabe Davis or Juju? I'll go Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis or Sutton? I'll go Gabe Davis. Deshaun Watson over Rodgers at my super flex. You also have Allen. If you have Josh Allen, I'd start Josh Allen. Otherwise, I'd probably I'd go either way. I'd probably start Aaron Rodgers against the Bears team that he's owned. Keenan Allen, Mark Andrews, Pat Freiermuth, or Von Jefferson at flex. Look, Von Jefferson is officially a bust. He's officially not worth playing. The Rams' offense is terrible. Just eliminate him from your mind. Keenan Allen, Andrews, or Freiermuth, all are going to have decent days. I think Freiermuth and Allen are going to have great days. Andrews in that offense, he's going to get his numbers, but I don't think the Ravens are going to put a big points against the Broncos defense. I like Keenan Allen the most, but Freiermuth would be my second option if I had the option to pick two. Appreciate everyone joining us on TikTok Live and on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at Sports Fumble, and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Butt Sports. There is no wind tonight. It's like 8-9 miles per hour. Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate the rose. Not a lot of wind tonight, so I do like the kickers in this game for just that reason. Another reason I like the passing game of the Bills. Not a lot of wind, not a lot of weather. I think it's a good opportunity to get some points. Dameon Pierce or Singletary, I'll go Pierce. Murray or Pacheco, I'll go Pacheco. Okay, I think I'm getting into some of the ones I've already covered, so I'll slide down here. Christian Watson or Metcalf, we answered that. Okay, here we are. Williams. Zay Jones or Jacoby Myers? Zay Jones, not even a question. Kareem Hunt or Gus Edwards? Kareem Hunt. Fournette or Mike Evans? Mike Evans. Rank the flex. Curtis Samuel, Brandon Cooks, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Okay, let me rank them. Donovan Peoples-Jones, number 1. Brandon Cooks, number 2. Curtis Samuel, number 3. There you go. Elliott or Pollard? I'm going Pollard. Myers or Burks? Probably go Myers. ETN or Ramondre Stevenson? That's a health question. The problem is one's playing tonight, one's playing on Sunday. I'd probably go ETN, but if you don't have the option or flexibility, you're kind of forced into Ramondre Stevenson. I wouldn't want to go there. I'd rather have ETN and feel like I could pick up JaMychal Hasty off the waiver wire if he's not able to play. Geno Smith or Rodgers? I'm going Geno. Kamara or ETN? I just said ETN may be injured, but Kamara, I don't like Kamara at all. Kamara's just had a bad year. I don't trust him. He's going up against a good run defense of the Bucs. I'm fading Kamara. Nothing about him I like. If ETN doesn't play, you could pick up someone off the waiver wire, but I prefer ETN. Sit 1, ETN, DK Metcalf, or Godwin. Well, that answer might come for you, as ETN may not be able to play because he's hurt, but if he can play, he's going up against the Lions. Metcalf's going up against the Rams. Those are two terrible defenses. Godwin is going up against the Saints team that's played the Bucs pretty well the last few years, so Godwin would be my bench, would be my sit if ETN can't play. What waiver wire pickup? Mike Boone, Ty Johnson, JaMychal Hasty, Jalen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell. I really like Kenneth Gainwell, but he's going up against the Tennessee Titans defense that's good against the run, so unfortunately not this week. JaMychal Hasty is probably the one I would get, and you'd bank on the fact that he's going to get some touches with, even if ETN's healthy, they're probably going to have Hasty on the field for at least a couple touches, so Hasty might be a good play there. Wilson, Swift, Jacoby Meyer, pick one for my flex. I'll go Swift. Thielen or Zeke? Zeke at the flex, no doubt about it. Should I start Amon-Ra St. Brown, Watson, or Kirk? I'll go Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's the number 1 receiver on that Lions team. They're going up against a bad Jaguars defense. I know Christian Kirk, you could say the same thing about the Lions. The only difference is I actually think there are more weapons on offense for Trevor Lawrence to throw to than Jared Goff. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is a really important part of the passing game for the Lions. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. How do I think Stevenson will play tonight? Between 65 and 85 rushing yards. Hopefully he gets a touchdown, but I think the Bills are going to be not as good against the run as we expect, so I think I actually think it's the passing game. You could see some production from Ramondre Stevenson. I think he has a good night. I don't think he has a great night. Geno or Deshaun. I need to see a week of Deshaun before I feel confident in him. I'll go Geno. Should I play Myers? No. Tua or Daniel Jones? It's Tua. It's not even a question. Daniel Jones doesn't have any good wide receivers to throw to. That team's all about Saquon Barkley. Not even a question for me. Appreciate all of you joining us on this TikTok Live. Garrett Wilson or Christian Watson. I think both players are going to have a good day. I'll go Garrett Wilson, though. Garrett Wilson's a clear wide receiver one on that Jets offense. And now that Mike White's in there, I like the Jets offense and their passing game going up against a Vikings team that's just not that good. Pacheco or Williams? I'll go Pacheco. Do I play McKenzie or bench him and hope Mike Williams? I think Mike Williams is going to play, so I'd play Mike Williams. Glad I helped you win your game last week. We put out a lot of fantasy football content, waiver wire, start, flex, and sit, and we put out a lot of gambling content, game picks, player prop bets. We also put out rants because you can tell I got an opinion about just about everything. Check out our content. We're putting out content every day. But Fumble Sports is a new sports content company. Check us out on Twitter @SportsFumble and on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube @ButtFumbleSports. It's 8 o'clock, so I am going to jump off now. I know we've answered a lot of questions. I hope it's been useful for you. We will be back. If not between Friday and Saturday, I'll probably get on a TikTok Live between now and Sunday just because I love talking to you guys and answering your fantasy questions. But lock it in right now. 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be on TikTok Live and YouTube answering fantasy football questions, answering gambling questions Sunday morning. So if you need answers to who to start, flex, and sit, if you need someone to pick off the waiver wire, if you want to know who to bet on Sunday, join us on TikTok Live. Watch us on YouTube. I'm going to be answering all your questions Sunday morning, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find me right here on my TikTok channel @ButtFumbleSports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and @SportsFumble on Twitter. Appreciate all of you joining us tonight. Appreciate all the support we get for ButtFumble Sports. Look forward to seeing you and answering your questions on Sunday morning. Enjoy tonight's game, and hopefully you get a lot of winners and a lot of fantasy production for you from this Thursday night game between the Buffalo Bills